Preparing to do business in China. What we should know. Team Delta. Did you know that ice cream was invented in China around 2000 BC when the Chinese packed a soft milk and rice mixture in the snow? China is the fourth largest country in the world. China is sometimes a day ahead of the United States. Did you know that the Chinese year is based on the cycles of the moon? This is called a lunar schedule. A complete cycle of the Chinese calendar takes 60 years. The Chinese calendar dates back to 2600 BC. It is the oldest known calendar. Did you know that the color red is considered a lucky color in China? At one time, wedding dresses were red, New Year's banners, clothing, and lucky money envelopes are still red to this day. Doing business in another country requires more than just a knowledge of the language or a good interpreter. Communication on an international level requires knowledge of basic business etiquette in the country where you are doing business. So before you pick up your international phones and call your business associates across the ocean, make sure you know the proper way to communicate. In Chinese business culture, small talk is important, specifically as it relates to travel in China. Use black and white printed materials in order to avoid special meanings behind in Chinese culture. Remember that belief in communism will guide all negotiations. The Chinese believe strongly in the principle of saving face. So do not do anything to embarrass your host. Do bring plenty of business cards, with one side printed in Chinese, as they will be freely distributed. Make sure your card has your title and the distinctions of your business, and print it in gold ink, as Chinese culture values this as a color of prosperity and success. When you do business overseas, you also need to consider the culture mandates of the country in which you are doing business. You will also need to ensure that you obey both local and international laws. Study the market. Know the culture. Establish clear communication. You should choose good people for your team. Consult legal counsel. Today, many companies are doing business in China. Doing business in another country demands a lot of research and investments. For instance, what do they buy? Well, 60% of people choose to spend their money on apparel and accessory, while only 30% enjoy spending their money on beauty and cosmetics. And this source was retrieved from the China Internet Network Information Center from the 2011 data. Often in China, the fundamental barrier to success is less about identifying the opportunity and more about the inability to execute the plan more effectively than others. One's own management team, the team's relationship with headquarters, the role of and relationship with joint venture partners all play a key role. Joint ventures have been a part of doing business in China for more than 30 years. In many sectors, they remain the only way to participate, often in a mandatory minority position. Up next, you will hear from Janet regarding how to establish excellent communication with the business culture in China.